Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It is out. I've played it. I've got 15 hours in the game. And so this is my first impressions review of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Long story short, for those of you wondering, should I jump into this game? Is it going to live up to the hype? Are the reviews that I'm seeing out there are true? Or is this people with biased reviews? Because right now the reviews are very positive on Indiana Jones. And yes, they're all true. I have found them all to be correct. I am loving this game. If I were to rate this game on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being knock it out of the park classic, I give this game a 9. That's right. I give this game a 9. If I were to give it a letter grade, it'd be an A minus, B plus, easy, no question. It might even be a solid A. I am very much enjoying this game. And there were times throughout this game that I thought to myself, okay, let's see what happens here because I can see where this is going to get old. And then whammo, they switch it up on you and they do a really good job with pacing and keeping you continuously engaged and excited, and they nail the feeling of Indiana Jones. We're going to go over this game in detail in this first impressions review. This is a little bit different than other first impressions reviews that you may have seen. I'm just going to talk with you guys. We're going to have a conversation. I've got some questions that I took from the community, some questions that I've had from people who I've talked to. We're going to answer those questions, and in doing so, hopefully give you guys a good idea of what the game is like. Now, for those of you watching this over on YouTube right now, because shout out, we also have a podcast, X1 Daily, the X1 Daily podcast. Make sure you go follow us. But if you're listening on YouTube, or watching on YouTube rather, this is my gameplay, and how the gameplay is going to work is it's going to go through 3 biomes. So you saw right there actually at the beginning that we were in the jungles of Peru. That's the very first place you are in the game. Then we go to Giza. That's another place I'm going to show off here. And we're also going to go through the Himalayas. I chose those 3 places to show off in this game because they're wildly different. It gives you a good feel of what the game is like without giving away any huge spoilers. So this is my gameplay. It's just going to play continuously while we talk and go through it. And let's dive into it. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We got videos like this dropping all the time. If you like this, like it, share it with your friends, and let's go. So first up, what kind of game is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? I mean, it's an adventure action game and an adventure puzzle game. I would best describe it as Tomb Raider times 1,000. I think it's infinitely better than Tomb Raider. If you enjoyed the Tomb Raider series, you will enjoy Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I think it's right along those lines. Now, there is combat in it, there is action in it, but primarily it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle exploration game, and you can see right here, this is Giza, and we actually just finished one of the puzzles here. It's hybrid open world. It's not full open world. There are levels, but within those levels, there are open areas to explore. So this level that you can see that we're on right now, this is Giza, and you can see that question mark on the screen there. That is one of the areas that we're off to explore. That's one of the mini puzzles that we're off to explore. And that's the game. I mean, it's a puzzle exploration game. It's not super combat focused. Yes, you can do combat in it. Yes, you do have guns and you have access to guns, but it's more focused on sneaking. It's actually incredibly difficult. You're vastly outnumbered if you decide to combat. So it's sneaking. It's a lot of sneaking. It's a lot of knocking guys out from behind. But what I like about it is the game lets you decide how to approach each of the puzzles, how to approach each of the areas, whether you want to go in full guns blazing. I did at times go in full guns blazing. I died as a result a lot of the times when I decided to do that because it's not easy. Again, the game is much more focused on sneaking, on distracting guards and other people in the game, knocking them out from behind, hiding the bodies, stuff like that. So if you are a fan of Metal Gear Solid, in fact, my wife was watching this game and she was like, this game reminds me of a lot of Metal Gear Solid. And that aspect of the game is definitely more Metal Gear Solid. You are encouraged to sneak and hide, but you do have options and choices in how you in how you decide to approach each puzzle, each area of the map, etc. One of the questions that I got from one of my buddies is, hey man, what's the whip like? Is it an Indiana Jones whip that's being used? And what is the whip mechanic? And yeah, the whip you use all the time, and it's a ton of fun. So you can use it in multiple ways. Number one, you primarily use it in puzzles. It helps you to climb, and it helps you to get across huge crevices. is that the right word? Huge gaps in the rocks. And that's primarily where you're using the whip. Where you can also use it is in combat. You can whip someone to essentially stun them and make them drop their weapon. And yeah, it's a ton of fun. It absolutely is a ton of fun to use the whip. It does feel like Indiana Jones. If you have a dream of being Indiana Jones and using the whip like a madman, then this is for you. So the whip mechanic is fantastic there. Back to the puzzles. Are the puzzles challenging or too easy? I actually found them to be perfect. Some of them, yes, are easy. Some of them, yes, are hard, but none of them were too easy or too hard. I think they did a really good job with the puzzles. There's a variety of puzzles. Puzzle games and games with exploration and puzzles, action adventure games like this, they need to make you feel smart without handing you the answer. And Indiana Jones does this throughout the game. At times, I was struggling to get past. At any point where I was struggling to figure out a puzzle, as I tried to do it, I eventually figured it out, and it never felt impossible where it was frustrating and, I need to go to Google to look this up. Number one, I couldn't go to Google to look it up because I had this as a review copy, so there was nothing out there on the game. And number two, it never got to that point. But also, it never felt too easy. It was super satisfying. And that is where this game shines. Whereas, for instance, if we were to look at like a Hellblade 2, Hellblade 2 is viewed as a puzzle game, but it was much less puzzle. It was some of those puzzles were a little too easy, and it was just like observations. Whoever did their puzzles here, particularly my favorite puzzles are in Egypt, in Giza, the puzzles with light. The light puzzles were fantastic. And remember, this is also a sneaking game. So as you're sneaking around, part of the puzzle is trying to figure out, okay, how do you go from point A to point B without being discovered? How do you pick up these items that we need without being discovered? How do you get past this group of guards without being discovered and ruin the whole thing? That in and of itself is a puzzle as well. But again, I think they nail it. I don't think it's too hard. I don't think it's too easy. I think it's just right. One of the things, though, that you can do inside of Indiana Jones that I very much appreciate is you can fully customize the difficulty. So you can say, I want more bad guys on the map. I want less bad guys on the map. I want more difficulty in puzzles. I want less difficulty in puzzles. I want more hints. I want less hits. It's fully customizable so that you can play however you want. I played on all of them to try them out, but I kept the game pretty much on standard. And standard for me, like I said, it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too difficult. I'd highly recommend actually playing this game on standard. How does the game handle traversal and exploration? Does it feel satisfying or clunky? It's very satisfying. It's very polished, and it feels good. They have a journal system in this game. And the journal is used to track all of your missions. The journal will give you clues on the map sometimes, like what direction you need to go. And it monitors everything. It's how you track all your different missions. You just open up your journal and stuff like that. It feels very well thought out, very well put together. And it just works. Now, my brother was saying, hey, I wish this game was in third person view. I actually don't. I think they crushed it with this first person view. Now, this is the developer of the Wolfenstein games, and it does the movement, that first person movement, the first person, even the level design, you can tell it's from the publishers, from the developers that did Wolfenstein. It's very similar. What really stands out to me here, though, is the detail to the levels and the areas that you're in. At no point did I ever find, so sometimes like, for instance, in a Skyrim, let's say, or even a Red Dead Redemption, you come across assets that are repetitive and areas of the map that just look randomized. Everything feels in this game detailed, created, handcrafted. None of it feels procedural, and they're really well put together. That leads to this feeling that each area is distinct, each area is satisfying, each area has a tone to it and a feeling to it that really adds a lot of atmosphere to the game. You are Indiana Jones, and you are playing through the world like Indiana Jones, and the world adds a lot to that. I have to say the level design is fantastic in this game, and it's probably one of the highlights. I would say The level design is better than even the character that is Indiana Jones is. It's that good of level design. I think that's what makes it. Are there any standout Indiana Jones moments? I mean, the entire game is standout Indiana Jones moments. There is, like I said, there's a lot of exploration and there's a lot of sneaking around and stuff like that. One of the coolest parts happens later in the game. It's much more action oriented and it involves planes and plane combat. And that is the standout Indiana Jones moment for me. Indiana Jones says some stuff and does some stuff, and you're like, yes, this is Indiana Jones. I am Indiana Jones, and I am awesome. And the entire game, they nail the feeling of Indiana Jones. If you are a fan of Indiana Jones, you will very much enjoy this game. You will love this game. This game does take place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, so you get a good idea of where we're at there if you're an Indiana Jones fan. And I mean, I think it nails the feeling of Indiana Jones. Absolutely. The voice acting is fantastic. I think they nail the Harrison Ford voice acting. I don't know exactly how they did it. I didn't look into it, but at no point did I feel like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This is not Harrison Ford. I don't know if they used AI. I don't know if they replicated his voice, but it's Indiana Jones, period. I did play this game on the Xbox Series X, and the graphics were again polished, very well done, very good looking. I had no real issues with performance. Occasionally there was a clip or a cut, like a jump from a frame drop that I experienced, but nothing game breaking. And like I said, that was very, very occasional. No real bugs that I noticed either. This is this is probably one of the best released games of the year at release date. That's made easier by the fact that it's not multiplayer. It is this single player experience, but no technical issues and really good performance on the Xbox Series X. Again, it's beautiful, good lighting, the whole kit and caboodle there as far as performance and graphics is concerned. The soundtrack is the Indiana Jones soundtrack. It feels like you're playing in a movie. So you're going to very much enjoy it. I would recommend playing it with headphones on so you get all the dialogue there. You get the authenticity that is Indiana Jones, and you get the movie music experience because that's exactly what it is like. The one thing that I think really stands out to me that I want to highlight here that I've told everybody that I've had a chance to talk to this game about is the pacing. Whoever wrote this story, whoever designed the gameplay, absolutely nailed the pacing. I mentioned earlier that there were points in this game that I was like, okay, this is really cool, but I could see how this could get repetitive, and I hope it doesn't get boring, and then boom, they switch it up on you. Just like that. So it never ever drags. It never ever feels like it's too slow or too fast. The pacing, I would say, is perfect. I can't think of a game that has better pacing at the moment. I can't think of a single player game that I've played recently that beats the pacing of Indiana Jones. Even a Red Dead Redemption that I absolutely love, there were times where it dragged. It was really long and it dragged. Not in this game. I have yet to experience that. The pacing is next to perfect. It keeps you engaged throughout, and I never feel like they were losing me at any point. And right when you think that could happen, boom, they switch it up, and you're either in a new place. The pacing gets faster. The pacing gets slower. There's more action. There's more puzzles. They do a deeper dive into something, and the pacing is just absolutely fantastic. One question that I got is this game for hardcore fans of the series, or is it for newcomers? And I would say it's absolutely for both. It definitely has the Easter eggs, definitely has the fan service that they do, and they do really well. But if you're a newcomer to the game, you're going to love it as well. I don't think that there's anything that keeps you out of it. I think most people will probably know, even if you're not a fan of Indiana Jones, the movies, you'll know who he is. You'll know his personality. And that's really all you need to know. Everything else in the game you can approach from a brand new face. But if you are a fan of the movie, there are definitely some Easter eggs in there for you as well. I think they balanced that line perfectly. I think it is both for hardcore fans of the series and newcomers. I'm 15 hours into the game, and I'm close to being done. I can feel it. I think the game is about 20 hours-ish to beat the whole campaign, which to me is perfect time frame. Again, you combine that length of the game with the pacing, and it's perfect. I do think that some games get too long. For instance, a Persona 5, fantastic, I think is really long. It's like a 90-hour game. I think 50-hour games are too long. This is definitely not one of those games. Right around 20 hours. I feel like I'm almost have it completed here at 15, and that's with me doing a lot of the side quests and doing a lot of the completionist tasks that I didn't have to do. So definitely in for a treat as far as that is concerned. I think you got 20 hours, maybe 25 hours if you're like a completionist. You can get this in, so not long at all. It's definitely worth your time as far as that is concerned. So the big question: when this drops on Game Pass, should you pick it up? 100,000%. Yes, you should. I think everybody should experience this game. Now, I give it, like I said, a 9 or an A-, or even a solid A. It's right around there. For me, you're going to really like this game if you like Tomb Raider and that style of game. If you like puzzle exploration, sneaking games like a Metal Gear Solid, I think you would really like this game. If you don't know if you like this game, it's on Game Pass. So definitely this style of game, it's on Game Pass. So definitely download it and check it out. I think everybody is going to enjoy this game. Oh, it looks like I got to the end. Let's restart I forgot to loop my footage there. I think everybody's going to enjoy this game. I thoroughly have enjoyed it. I'm very much liking it, and I highly recommend it to everybody or anyone who is interested in it for sure. That does me today, everybody. That's our review, first impressions review of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I would love to know, for those of you who have played, do you agree with this review? Let me know in the comments below. What did I miss? What did I get wrong? What did I leave out? If you didn't like it, let me know as well. What were some concerns that you had and what just didn't hit it for you in the comments below? Again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. I'm X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this all the time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.